Hello everyone. So in our previous class, we have seen the background of economic survey, budget and 16th Finance Commission report. Then we have seen the preface of the economic survey. What does economic survey is about? Then let us start the chapters. So this is the first chapter, state of the economy. Okay. So much like preface, chapter 1 also is also a overview or summary of the whole economic survey, the remaining chapters. Okay. So if I have to summarize entire economics survey chapter 1 into one sentence, this will be it. India maintains strong growth momentum driven by domestic demand and supply side strength despite a fragile and diverging global economic environment. So what does this say? First is global economic environment is fragile. It is not stable. It is very sensitive. It may break anytime. There are trade wars. There are tariff wars. There are actual wars. Okay. There is different blocks developing. Then economy is diverging. Some countries are seeing good growth rate. Some countries are not seeing good growth rate. Some countries are getting worse. Okay. In this kind of world, India maintains a strong growth momentum. Driven by domestic demand and supply side strength. So domestic demand, we are taking there are two aspects, supply side, demand side within the country. Okay. So within the country, we are taking care of our demand and our supply. So that is why India is maintaining strong growth momentum. Okay. So the topic is a world in a managed disorder. So we know the world right now we are facing a managed disorder. Okay. There is disorder, but it is being managed right now. Okay. So why there is disorder? Because global policy is now shaped by security and politics, not efficiency. So few years back, let's say 10 years back, now I have so much money, I want to invest in any country. My only intention is to get maximum profits, maximum returns. What do? I will check which country is having maximum stability, which is showing more discipline fiscal wise, okay, which is maintaining that macroeconomic fundamentals like inflation, okay, which is country is more stable, which is having less debt, okay, which has taken less loans, etc. Because all of these decide the stability of that country, which is having good resources, which is showing good growth rate, etc. So there are many aspects needs to be considered, which is having good enough foreign currency reserves, etc. So only efficiency, the maximum returns is my goal. But what is happening right now? US is putting export restrictions on semiconductor technology. So even if I am a person who can export semiconductor technology, I am not allowed to by the US government. China is putting restrictions on rare earth elements, export of rare earth elements. So even if I am a Chinese company, I can export rare earth elements. My government is not allowing me. Okay, same with many countries. So here policy is decided by security and politics, not efficiency. The world is fragmenting, intensifying geopolitical conflicts. So world is more fragmenting. Russia and China and related countries coming into one block. US, Western countries, they are one block. In fact, within the Western bloc, now we are seeing differences between US and other European countries, etc. So world is fragmenting. Energy and finance weaponization. Trump tariff wars. Okay, so Trump does not like China, he is putting some tariff on China. Trump does not like India buying Russian oil. Trump is putting 50% tariffs on India. Finance, trade weaponization. If you see, after Russia has attacked Ukraine, Russia-Ukraine war started. Many countries, European countries have criticized Russia. What Russia did? Russia has stopped sending natural gas to those European countries, exporting natural gas to the European countries. So here you can see energy weaponization. Okay, export controls on technology. Just like I told you, US has put controls on semiconductor technology. Okay. So this is how the disorder is being managed right now. Growth is diverging. Okay, different countries have different growth rates. You see, Europe is seeing very weak growth. Okay, US is showing strong growth, but it is actually driven by only one sector: artificial intelligence growth, technology. Take AI out. If you exclude AI, artificial intelligence, the growth of US is also not impressive. Okay, whole Europe is suffering. Then China is also not having very good growth. In fact, it is having deflation. For having a good growth, normal minimum inflation is necessary. 2 to 3% is very good for an economy. Minimum increase of prices is needed. Last year this pen will be 20 rupees. This year it will be 25. Next year is 30. Fine. Jumping from 20 to 40 may not be acceptable. But minimum increase in inflation is desired. But China is experiencing deflation. That means prices is decreasing. Prices are decreasing. Last year this pen is 20 rupees in China. This year it is 15. So why will I produce pens? People are not given incentive. Okay. So that is how the growth in the world is diverging. What is the result? The result is a fragile global growth with persistent downside risks. So the growth is very fragile. Anytime anything can happen. Okay. Countries may fall. Economics as a weapon, the rise of statecraft. See, here we are talking about something called economic statecraft. That means we have some economic tools like tariffs. Why there are tariffs? So that to create equal ground between domestic players and foreign players. Let's say India is putting tariffs on a country. Let's say US is sending some apples to India. In India there are already apple producers. So now Indian apple producers, they have a low level of technology. So they produce an apple at a cost of 25 rupees. But US, a developed country, they may produce apple at 15 rupees. So they will dump apples into India. To compensate it, we will put a 10%, 10 rupees tariffs on US apple. So that US apples and India apple both come at 25 rupees into India. Now you will buy based on quality. Okay, so this is how tariffs work. It is to protect some sections. It is to manage economic policy. Not everything, but what we are seeing here, Trump is upset with India buying Russian oil. Trump is upset with Russia-Ukraine war, but Trump is using tariffs against India. It's not like India is sending any unfair product to USA. It has nothing to do with it. So they are using economic policies to achieve political security goals, geopolitical goals. Why US is not exporting semiconductor technology to China? Because they are worried about the China's competition, growth of China. So China is seen as an enemy and they are using economic policies as a tool. So this is called rise or return of statecraft. Why is it written? Because in ancient times also we used to see this. Okay, like during Roman Empire, etc., Greek Empire, etc., at these times, empires also used to depend on each other for some economic aspects. Like one empire used to send grains for another, one empire used to send fishes for another, etc. But when they have some differences, in the past there are examples of using these economic suspensions or economic sanctions to achieve political goals. Same is actually discussed in this Ardhashastra of Kautilya, India's treaty. So there also economic policy is discussed as a part of statecraft. So now we are seeing it again after many decades of capitalist growth, free trade. Till now all the developed countries said capitalism is the way, let us trade freely, everyone can grow, free trade, liberal trade. Till now this is what they are saying. Now it is not benefiting them anymore. Now they are putting restrictions on free trade. Okay, so economic statecraft return is one thing. So the tools we are using is sanctions and investment bans. So if India is investing in Russia, US is getting upset, US is avenging us. US is putting sanctions on Iran. If we buy oil from Iran, US will not do any business with us. Okay. Then critical mineral monopolies. China has severe dominance in critical minerals and rare earth elements. So just Google and do your work if you don't know what are critical minerals and rare earth elements. So there are some elements called critical minerals and rare earth elements. As of now, China is almost producing 90% of these critical minerals and rare earth productions, and these are very much important in all the modern technology. All the electric vehicles we are using, all the semiconductors we are building, all the renewable energy, solar panels, etc. we are building. So it is very important for modern technology, and it is mostly controlled by one country, which is putting restrictions if it is upset. China had an issue with Japan few months back, and it has put export restrictions of sending goods to Japan. So here also you will see using economic statecraft for political goals. Then we will see about two terms called friend shoring and near shoring. What is friend shoring and near shoring? So first let us discuss friend shoring. Till now what I am doing for efficiency. Wherever I can find most efficiency, wherever I can find most profit, I am doing business in that country. Okay. If you see China's growth story, China started making capitalist policy in its economy. China politically is a communist state even today. But in 1970s, China has made some changes to its economy. It has made capitalist changes. It has allowed many private players. It has helped China. So China has created stable conditions for foreign investment. So many investors from these Western countries, US and Europe, etc., they have invested in China and they have gained so much of profits. And meanwhile, China has developed a strong manufacturing sector. China has become an export giant. Okay, so this is the growth story of China. So US may see China as an enemy, but a US citizen who has money because of pure efficiency, because he is getting most returns in China, he is investing in China, not in India, not in France, not in Germany, not in UK. He is investing in China because he is getting maximum profit. This was happened till now. But what is happening till now? Because we are moving towards a new world of economic statecraft. Now you cannot trust random countries. Like US has literally kidnapped Venezuelan president few months back. Now anything can happen to enemy countries. US may attack Russia. US may attack China. China may attack Taiwan. Anything can happen. So we are preferring friendly countries. So if I am a US citizen, I will prefer investing in a country which is not attacked by China. Sorry, which is not attacked by USA. So if you see current conditions, there is less possibility for US to attack India. So currently a US investor may prefer India to China or India over Russia. Okay, this is called friend shoring, investing in friendly countries. Or US government, take US government. US government wants to make a deal. It wants to form a new organization. Which country it prefers as partners? It friends. Okay? So it's not in like past. Now friends are being trusted in international relations, economic investments, etc. It is friend shoring. Near shoring. Okay, this is friend shoring. Now another term is near shoring. Near shoring. What is near shoring? Near shoring means investing or trusting in the nearby countries. So for US, who are the nearby countries? Mexico and Canada. So preferring to do business with these countries, transactions with these countries is preferred than transactions with faraway country, China or Japan. Okay. So how to travel in this country? As we have seen in the previous class also, we have to become strategically indispensable. We have to become so strong. Our manufacturing sector should be so strong. Our export should be so strong. Our value addition to the world should be so strong. Our participation in the global value chain should be so strong that we are indispensable. It is not easy to dispose of us. Okay, we are an essential part of the global economy. We should become like that. Okay. For this, we need to focus on many sectors. We will see one by one. Okay. So this is what we have discussed till now. How the world is changing. Okay. This we have already discussed. Now, what is shown here is something called economic policy uncertainty index. See, it is not a straight line. If it is straight line means economic policy uncertainty index is released by a group of researchers. So they will see economic policies of various major economies, major countries. They will see how stable it is. If something is stable, it is flat line. But here economic policy you can see across the world is very uncertain. You cannot predict it. It is constantly changing. It is becoming more and more uncertain. Take the example of Donald Trump. So Donald Trump previously has imposed 25% tariffs on India. Then he said, you are doing business with Russia, you are buying oil from Russia, I am angry with it. So I am increasing it to 50%. Then India and USA has made a deal within a few months. India and USA has made a deal. So the tariffs were reduced to 18%. Then very recently, 2-3 days back, US Supreme Court has struck down all the tariffs. So to counter the Supreme Court judgment, he has introduced another 10% tariffs. Now the 10% were increased to 15%. So within few months, too much change, very uncertainty in economic policy. This is an example. Okay, till a few months ago, a country A is exporting something to country B. Suddenly, for the next month, it is not exporting; it is putting an export ban. Then after 1 month, again it is removing the export ban. So there is lot of uncertainty. So India is the brightest map on the spot in this uncertain world. Okay, so India is the brightest spot on the map in this uncertain world. So in the era of uncertainty, we are a major economy who is growing very fast. For this financial year, we have achieved the real growth rate of 7.4%. Okay, 7.4%. We are the fastest growing major economy. Okay, we are the fastest growing major economy. For minor economy, smaller countries, it is very easy to achieve growth. But for major economy, larger country like India, it is very difficult to achieve growth. And this is for the 4th year. For the 4th year successively, we are the fastest growing major economy. Okay. So we want to continue this also. Next year also we are expecting our GDP growth rate around 7%. Okay. So nominal GDP, even if you include inflation, so there is real GDP. When you add inflation to it, increase in prices in the economy, then you will arrive at nominal GDP. It is also rising. Okay. So while the world slows down, India's momentum is rising. World is slowing down, but India is rising. Okay. So you can see here the general growth trends of our GDP. So nominal GDP is something when you include inflation. Okay. So if you see, it is continuously growing till COVID. Till COVID, it has fallen. The growth rates in the nominal GDP, including inflation. When you take this real GDP without including inflation, it is somewhat oscillating but more or less stable. Okay, usually real GDP will be seeing a growth rate of between 6 to 8%. Okay, nominal GDP will be higher. Real GDP without inflation usually between 6 to 8% for India growth rate, year on year growth rate. Okay, this year if something is 100 rupees, next year if it is 110 rupees, we will say growth rate is 10%. Okay, in that way, compared to the previous year GDP, the next year GDP of India usually will grow between 6 to 8%. In the last decade we are seeing, but during COVID it has fallen. Okay, again we are seeing somewhat good growth rates. Okay. So India is having a good growth. For this financial year, we have got 7.4% growth rate. Then we are expecting same next year. Why this is happening? How we are achieving this much growth? Okay. Let me explain something static point. We need to know some static beforehand. So see, what do we mean by GDP first of all? What do we mean by GDP? gross domestic product. So calculate the value of all the products produced in the country. Examine. Okay, for example, I'm telling 10 cars were produced in India. Each car is worth, let's say, 10 lakhs. So 10 cars, each 10 lakhs, total value is 1 crore. Okay, so there are many products I will be developing like this. So total value when I calculate for the country in this year, it is GDP of the country. Okay, the value added, the added value. What is growth rate in GDP? This financial year, I have created 10 cars, each worth 10 lakhs. So total is 1 crore. Next year, let's say I have produced 11 cars, each is worth the same 10 lakhs. So next year, total is 1 crore 10 lakhs. So growth rate is 10%. Next year, let's say car prices have increased. Inflation. Okay, cars have become 11 lakhs. So next year, 11 lakhs into 11 cars is 121 lakhs. So if you include inflation, growth rate is 21%. Nominal growth rate is 21%. Real growth rate is 10%. Okay, this is how it is calculated. Hope you have understood it. So GDP is the growth in the value added. Sorry, GDP is the value added. Growth rate is the increase between different years. Okay. So how to calculate GDP in an economy? For an economy like India, for a big country, how do you calculate this bigger country from start to end? Okay, just briefly discussing static part because there is something you should know. I am not discussing all relevant static part, but that static part which is necessary for understanding later slides I am teaching you. Okay, things are being produced in the economy. Okay, how do you calculate it? Okay, one way is how much value is added in different sectors. Like first, primary sector, or there will be primary sector consisting of agriculture and animal husbandry, etc. So in economy there are primary sectors, secondary sector, okay, and tertiary sector. There will be different sectors in the economy. Every sector can be further classified. Primary sector will have agriculture, animal husbandry, etc. Secondary sector will have manufacturing, construction, etc. Tertiary will have services, etc. So how much value you are adding in each sector will be calculated. Okay, like you will take some rice. Rice is cultivating rice is agriculture. Then using that rice, if you are processing the food, it becomes manufacturing sector. You put it in a packing and you sell it to some ready-made item. It comes under manufacturing sector. So like that. Okay. Then you will sell it in a restaurant. The same food, if you sell it in restaurant, again it is services. Okay. So how much value we are adding in each sector, you can literally calculate throughout the country. You will arrive at the total value added, which is GDP. Okay. This is called value added method. Okay. One is value added method. Okay. Or sector wise calculation method. Another one, what happens to all the value added? All the things I have generated, what happens to it? There are 4 possible outcomes. Either I will consume it. Okay. Consume it, consumption. Who will consume? Like you and me, households will consume. Or it can be taken by the government. Okay. Government can spend it, government expenditure. Like take the case of same rice we are following. So whatever the product from rice we have made, we can literally eat it, it ends there. Okay, when you consume some things, it ends there. Okay, or government can take the rice and can distribute as rations. Okay, so government will distribute rations for free or almost very less price. So government can take it, government can spend it, consume it. Then you can invest it. Invest it. I can take some rice without consuming it. I have taken rice directly from agriculture sector. I can consume it, or I can invest it into something else. Like take this restaurant example again. So using rice as investment, I have made a product. Rice I have bought for 20 rupees. After cooking the rice, converting into some biryani or something, I have sold it into 200 rupees. Okay. Or fourth possibility is I can export it. Okay. So either I consume or government can take it, or I or even government can invest it, or we will exporting it to other countries. These are the four possibilities to find out all the value within India. Okay, all the value generated within India. See, there is something will happen. We import some things, but those values should be excluded if you want to calculate the value added in India. So, of all the things, we have to exclude imports. Okay. In this, imports also covered. Some things we import, like take crude oil. Crude oil we will import from these Gulf countries. We refine it, okay, and we export it. There are many facilities across India. India is very famous for petroleum refineries. Okay, we take crude oil, we distill it, we create many products from petroleum, we refine it and we will export it. So imported crude oil should be excluded from these things. So in this calculation, these exports and imports together is called net exports. Okay, I will call it net exports. So what are the four components? This is what? This is expenditure side. Okay, this is called expenditure side or demand side. Okay, let's call it demand side. This is called demand side. This is what we are talking about. So in the opening slide, when I said India is managing it, demand side means this is what I mean. This is demand side. Consumption, households consumption, government expenditure, investment in the country, net exports. That means exports minus imports. And what is this? This is the supply side. Okay, value addition done in different sectors. It is the supply side. So if you calculate all the value added in the country, it is also GDP. If you calculate all the various types of expenditures, various types of demands in the country, it is also same. Both theoretically, both has to come the same. Both has to arrive at the same value. So GDP can be calculated from value addition, or GDP can be calculated based on demand or expenditure side. Okay. There is a third way which you can also calculate GDP. It is called income method. Okay. Okay, income method. What is income method? So whatever value you will generate, someone has to receive it. So in the example I told you, each car we are selling at 10 lakhs. We are producing 10 cars. Each car is 10 lakh. Total we are generating 1 crore value, 1 crore GDP. But what is happening to 1 crore? It will go as salaries to the workers of that factory. It will go as some amount into buying the machinery, etc. It will go, remaining amount will go as the profits. So in this way, the same 1 crore, you can also arrive at the incomes of each of the person involved. Okay. So whether you calculate all the incomes, whether you calculate all the supply side value addition, or whether you calculate all the demand side expenditure, any of the three cases, theoretically you will arrive at the same value. Okay. So like income method means you calculate all the salaries received in the country, all various types of incomes we receive in the country. Okay. Income can also be rent. I can rent something, I can receive it. Then there can be interests. I can give a loan to some person, I can receive a interest on it. It is also value generated. Then there can be profits. Okay. So this way, any way of generation of income will be included. Okay. So theoretically speaking, whether you calculate all the incomes generated in the country, or whether you calculate the value of all the additions done in the country, or whether you calculate the amount of expenditure done in the country, demand side. So all three theoretically shall arrive at the same value. You can calculate GDP through any method. Okay. All these three are Methods of calculation of GDP. Hope you have understood it. So this is what I am talking about. There are various ways to calculate GDP, whether value of output, value of incomes, value of expenditure. Okay. So now we are talking. The question is, India is seeing very good growth. India is seeing very good growth. From where this growth rate is coming? See here, from where this growth rate is coming? It is coming from private consumption. It is coming from private consumption or household consumption. Okay, that so this is the expenditure method of GDP. This expenditure side I have shown here. This is the expenditure side. See here, consumption, household consumption or private consumption. This is what we are talking about. Then government can also consume or spend. Then investment. Then we have net exports. This is the demand side, expenditure side of calculating GDP. Usually in your reference book, in your NCERTs and standard books, it is shown like this. GDP is equal to consumption, investment, government expenditure, net exports. Okay. So I am talking about this consumption spending. So why India is having good growth rate? Because our consumption is very strong. So if you take GDP as 100% of all the value being produced in the country, 61.5% is coming from internal consumption. We are consuming things more. We have so larger population. We are a very big market in the country. So things we are producing, we are consuming. We are consuming so much, so that is why we are producing so much. So our consumption is driving our growth. Okay. So our consumption is driving our growth. What is the engine of growth? Our consumption. See, this is the official term. So everything we call, government calls officially in a different way. So whatever I am calling consumption or household consumption, government calls it private final consumption expenditure. Okay. So it is 61.5% of the GDP of all the value added in the country. Okay. So why there is very good consumption? Because we have already seen in this recent financial year there is low inflation. We had good rains. Agriculture product prices are normal, not too high, and real incomes of the people are rising. Then rural demand is also rising. So situation in India's villages is improving. Okay. So when people feel secure, they will spend. So overall our economy is doing good. Our employment rate is also increasing. Unemployment rate is decreasing. Country is improving. So people are like, if I am a person so worried about my future, what will I do? I will save money. If I am not guaranteed of my job after 2 months, I will worry from now and I will save money. If my job is secured or my financial condition is secured, I am having little courage to spend. So that is what happening, because country is doing good. People are having enough courage to spend, and because people are spending nicely, suppliers are producing more. Because we are producing more, we are seeing a good growth. Okay. Because there are more buyers, people are supplying more. Okay. So domestic demand is the anchor of all the 4 things that can drive the GDP. Domestic demand is the biggest thing. Okay. Consumption. Okay. Domestic demand is the anchor of the Indian economy, not exports. See, domestic demand, it's not international demand which is exports. What is driving our country? You take the case of China. China exports so much. China's main strength is its exports. Foreign demand, external demand. But for India, it is domestic demand is the anchor of India's economy, proving that our growth is internally driven and resilient. Okay. Now coming to investment. So in the GDP formula, so consumption we have seen. You see, different things have different natures actually. Which is good. You want high GDP, obviously anyone will have maximum output, maximum growth rate. I want to have so much growth rate than last year. That means I have to produce much more than last year. How to produce maximum? Which component should I give preference? All 4 increases is good. but increase in which component is best for me. Okay, you see, if people consume things, it is the end of that. If I consume rice, it is the end of that. There is no way for me to further process it. There is nothing left to process it, whether it into biryani, whether it is into ready-made products, etc., etc. Okay, if I eat a fruit, it is the end of it. If I invest it, if I process it further, some juice or some ready-made juice, the value will go up. Okay, so things if you consume, it ends there. Same with government. Whether you or government, anyone who is spending, things end there. When will government spend more? When the country is in crisis, government spending will increase. Otherwise, government will not increase. Take the case of COVID. When COVID occurred, pandemic occurred, everyone is in crisis. Everyone needed support. So government came up with Antyodaya Anna Yojana and government supported all the population. So there are some moments where government spending is desired. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, spending ends the cycle. On the other hand, you compare investment. Investment. If I invest something, instead of eating, I sell that rice as some flavored rice, biryani or in some restaurant. I take computers, instead of using it for personal consumption, I use it as investment. I use it as a part of my startup. I will create products. My startup will grow. I will give more employment. So I will earn profits. I will pay taxes to the government. As a company, we will grow and the country will grow. So when you invest in something, in anything, in generally saying, when you invest in something, in future, it will give you more returns. So investment creates a positive cycle. You invest in something, it will give you returns. You will invest the returns again. Again, you will get more returns. So it is a positive cycle. Investment is always good. Exports. So if I eat internally, if I consume internally, not eat. If I use any product internally, it will be having less value. A foreigner usually pays more for the same thing. Oil in Saudi Arabia will cost lesser, but oil in India will cost higher. A t-shirt sold in India will be lesser. If the same t-shirt, if you export to USA, you will get more cost. So export is desired. And also in previous class also what we have seen, economic survey, our economic advisor is giving a call to increase our exports, to get more foreign currency reserves, forex reserves, to improve our current account deficit and to reduce our dependence on foreign investment, to decrease our cost of capital and to have strong rupee, because rupee is depreciating. It is one of the concern. Two concerns. For India, everything is good except two concerns. One is rupee is depreciating. Another one is India is having high debt. Okay, high loans. We owe so much money to the world. Okay, our ratio of debt to GDP is very high. Okay, so exports are also good. Exports are also good, but not as much as investment. We need more investment. Next preference is exports. Last is consumption, but in that timing decides whether government consumption is good or not. Okay, so among these four, right now which is driving us? Consumption spending. But it would help us if GDP growth rate is more driven by exports. Okay, like it happened to China. China's GDP was driven by exports. So China has become a superpower. Now China is controlling many countries in the world. Okay, with the Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, and investment is the most preferred among all these four, because investing today will give you more returns. So that is why even government is spending most investment. Whatever government is investing, we call it capital expenditure. So government is investing something means it will give more returns to the economy. Okay. So among all these four, consumption spending is 61.5%. Now let us see what about investment. So investment is around 30% share of GDP. Okay. So this is 61, this is 30, 61.5, this is 30. Okay. So rest are remaining. Okay. Contribution to the GDP overall 100%. and the more the investment, the more good it is for us. Okay, and this investment, government calls it gross fixed capital formation. Okay, why? Because government does not see all investment as investment. Like take the example of buying shares. Person A has shares, person B have money, they have exchanged it. He has sold some shares to the person B. Okay, person A has some shares, stocks of a company, ownership of a company. Person B has money. What does buying share mean? They have exchanged it. He given money and he has taken stocks. See, from the government perspective, nothing actually changing. No new value is being created. Same goes for land purchase also. Now person B has land, some let's say 1 acre of land. Person B has money. Now they have exchanged. Property was shifted from his name to his name. He has paid the money. Is this can be called capital formation? No, government will not call it capital formation. No capital created, no value. Okay, what is value? If I order 10 computers, let's say on Amazon or Flipkart, they will create 10 new computers for me. They are not giving someone else computers to me. They will create new things and they will give it to me. This is capital creation. I will use that for my company, startup. Till now there is no startup of mine, but today I am establishing a startup, producing new products. So this is investment. Okay, so only those type of capital creating investments government calculate. It is called gross fixed capital formation. Okay, fixed capital. So if you see the trends like private consumption, almost 10 years back in the financial 16 financial year 15-16, it is 59% of GDP. It is almost the same value 59, 58, 60, 61, 60, 61, 61. So today this financial year also 61.5%. Okay, so it is showing in a zoomed version here, but more or less it is same. It has not increased consistently, it has not decreased consistently. It more or less remained same in the range of 58 to 61.5 range. Okay, this is the range we are seeing for consumption. So consumption has always been the biggest part in the value we are producing. It is the main reason our country is growing. Okay, then investment 2016, 28, 28, 29, 27, 29, 31, 30, 29, 30. So mostly investment is also in the 27 to 31% range. Okay, so in the past 10 years, investment has also not increased too much. No consistent trends of increase or decrease. More or less, it has also remained in the same range. Investment also. Okay. Now let us see growth rates of various components of demand side, contribution to GDP from various components of demand side, growth rates of various components from supply side, okay, contribution to GDP from various components of supply side, supply side to GDP. Let us see, like this is what I am talking about. So we are seeing consumption 61.5%, investment 30%. So in that way, how they are contributing to the whole GDP, let us see all of this. Then how much they are growing, how much consumption is growing from previous financial year, how much consumption percentage last year, this year, how much it is, growth rates. Let us also see from the supply side, how much primary sector or agriculture is contributing, how much services sector is contributing, how much manufacturing sector, industry is contributing, how much agriculture is growing from the previous section. So this is how we will see. Okay. So as I told you, this is the overview. State of the economy is this first chapter is the overview of the entire economy. From second chapter, we will go deeply into each chapter. How our fiscal policy is working, how our monetary policy is working, how our agriculture is working, what is the performance on inflation side. Okay, what about industry, services? Each will become separate chapter. But this chapter is an overview of the entire state of the economy. So we already know Consumption, private consumption is 61.5%. Okay. Gross fixed capital investment is 30. So you can see here government expenditure is 9.9, exports is 21.5. Okay. So this is growth rate, I'm sorry. So this is growth rates. You see consumption from the previous financial year has increased 7%. Government expenditure has increased 5.2%. Investment has increased 7.8%. Exports have increased 6.4%. Okay. Now let us see from the supply side. Okay, value of outputs from each sector. So you see, we have sectors like primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector. Okay, tertiary. Okay, so economy is usually divided into different sectors. Who will decide which is primary, which is secondary, which is tertiary? Usually people think primary is agriculture and animal husbandry, other allied sector, livestock, forestry and fishing. Secondary means manufacturing, tertiary means services. This is very simplistic classification of older times. It is not true for the modern times. Now there are too many activities. Government will decide which are the primary one. Literally it has to notify. These are considered as primary. These are considered as secondary. These are considered as tertiary. Government can even create quaternary, okay, fourth sector or fifth sectors also. So like some governments see some parts of mining. Mining has many activities like exploration, okay, quarrying, etc., initial basic mining, etc., open mining, etc. Some aspects of mining as a part of primary also, and the remaining aspects of mining under secondary sector. Okay, so this is the broad classifications given by different governments. So this is not our concern here. So broadly speaking here, primary sector means broadly, not exactly, agriculture and allied sectors. Industry, industrial sector means secondary sector. So what do I mean by industrial sector? Manufacturing sector, some aspects of mining, electricity, gas, water supply, utility services, and construction sector, construction of houses, factories, etc. Construction sector, all of these together put under industrial sector. Okay, then hotels, businesses, okay, transport, communication services, financial services, public administration, all were put under services here. Okay, so let us see this is growth rate. Okay, this is growth rate of different sectors seen over the years. Okay, ignore here, this is growth rate. So we are seeing 3.1% growth rate in the agriculture sector. See the growth rate in the previous financial year. Previous financial year we had 4.6%. So agricultural growth rate has declined. Last year it has grown much bigger than this year. It has grown. There is growth rate. It did not shrink. It has grown. But the rate of growth seen between last year and the before year is higher than the rate we are seeing between this year and the previous year. Same with now come to industry. For industry, this year 6.2 growth rate, increase from last year. This is good news. We are increasing our rate of growth also. Okay. See the manufacturing sector. So what did economic survey say? Almost solution to the most of our problems is not having strong manufacturing sector, not promoting more exports. So develop your manufacturing sector, export more, earn more forex currency. This is what preface of the economic survey has told. Okay, so manufacturing sector which we need to develop very much has grown 7%, increasing from the previous year. So this is very good thing. Okay, so likewise you can see the remaining factuals. How much services is growing? Services is growing at a much faster pace. 9% growth we have seen from the services. Okay. So in fact, in the previous class, we have seen that we are running a current account deficit. Our import bill is high. The amount we are importing, the quantity and value of goods we are importing is much more than goods we are exporting. We are paying more US dollars, but we are getting less US dollars. So there is always a shortage. Who are feeling that shortage? Services, because of services. Otherwise, this shortage is too high. It should be very large amount, but services is covering so much that that shortage, the deficit of current account deficit is coming only to 0.8% of GDP, which is manageable. Okay, that is what we have seen in previous class. Then comes contribution to GDP. So how much agriculture is contributing? 15.2% to the GDP. How much industry is contributing? 24.3% of the GDP. Total 100% GDP. How much each sector is contributing? Agriculture and allied sectors contributing 15. Industry is contributing almost 25%. So roughly, here we are seeing, so let us come to manufacturing. How much manufacturing is contributing? Manufacturing is contributing 12.8. 12.8, see, very less. If you see, before 6-7 years, manufacturing used to contribute 17 to 18% of the GDP. 17 to 18% of the GDP. But now it has fallen to 12.8. Is this a bad news? It looks like manufacturing contribution is reducing year after year. Then economic survey says, sir, it looks like that on paper, but manufacturing is not shrinking. It is still having same production, having enough good growth. But the problem is the prices, the inflation, the value of these goods is falling. Okay, so because the inflation in this sector, the prices of the goods in this sector is not good. That is why total value, quantity is same 10 cars I am producing. But the problem is the price of car in the market has fallen to 9 lakhs from 10 lakhs. So previously I produced 10 cars, each of which 10 lakhs, total 1 crore. Right now I am producing 10 cars or even 11 cars. 11 cars I am producing, but each car value has fallen to 9 lakhs. So total looks like only 9.9, okay, 99 lakhs, not 1 crore. Okay, so this is because of inflation, not loss in production. Okay, services is the major contributor, 51.1%. Okay. So just a fast overview of each sector, whatever we are discussing, why our economy is doing good wherever, why it is doing bad wherever it is doing bad. So in agriculture sector, if you see in agriculture sector, it is broadly two, agriculture and allied sector. Okay, one is harvesting of crops. Another one is animal husbandry or allied sectors, okay, managing fisheries, okay, cattle, milk, etc. So we are seeing two different growth stories here, okay. The crops, cultivation of crops is very volatile, but the animal husbandry part, allied sector parts is very good. They are growing at almost 5 to 6%. Total growth rate we have seen 3.1%. It is actually falling, but there is a difference in the subparts. The fall is because of crop sector, not because of allied sectors. Okay, allied sectors are seeing good growth, 5 to 6%. Then comes the manufacturing sector. So we have seen from the previous year, manufacturing sector is seeing a good growth. So if you take the only first 6 months, from April to September of manufacturing sector, it has grown 8.4%. So when I predict for full year, it is 7%, but the first half of 2026 is 8.4%. Construction activity, which is also part of industry, has grown 7.4%. So the secondary sector or industry is also growing good. Okay, so as I told you, nominal share declined due to price effects. The contribution of manufacturing sector has declined only due to price effects, not because of the quantity. Okay. Real share remains, the real contribution still remains at 17 to 18%. Okay. Make in India is working. Whatever we are doing, Make in India is working. So ignore the temporary price effects, ignore the temporary price ranges, inflation. So economic survey is telling us that boost you are giving to manufacturing sector through Make in India is working. So services, it is the great stabilizer. So we are vulnerable on the external sector. Services sector is the one protecting us. It is the one stabilizing our current account deficit, our foreign exchange reserves. Okay, and our economy also. Okay, so it has seen 9.1% growth rate. It is contributing more than 50% to the GDP. So we are seeing good growth across many sectors of the services, financial services, professional services, transport, business, trade, etc. Okay, so service sectors are the one contributing to offset our trade deficit because of goods. Okay, so here trends of various things have shown. So you see GDP growth rate, we are seeing different patterns. So except COVID, just after COVID, we have seen too much growth because the base is too much low. Previous year, too much value has fallen in 21-22. So that's why the next year it has got to growth. Otherwise, we are in this 6 to 8% range GDP growth. Then per capita national income. National income. So in economy, you will read about, in addition to GDP, you will also read about something called GNP. Okay, so GNP, NNP, net national product, etc. we will see. So when you divide net national income by total population, you will arrive at the per capita net national income. So it is also increasing. Okay. So agriculture from previous year has fallen, we have seen. Industry has grown, we have seen. Services has grown, we have seen. Our forex reserves, here you can see clear trend. Our forex reserves are consistently rising. Okay, and our fiscal deficit is consistently falling. Okay, our fiscal deficit is consistently falling. This financial year 2025 to 2026, we have seen 4.4%. Okay, you can say for the past 5 years, fiscal deficit is falling. In fact, I would say there are various types of deficits in the economy. Fiscal deficit, primary deficit, revenue deficit, etc. Any kind of deficit is actually falling in the last 5 financial years after COVID. Okay. So moving on, so we already know our inflation is also lowered because we had a good monsoon rainfall. So food prices are moderated. Okay, so even in the inflation 1.7%. So inflation, whatever you call, there are various types of inflation, CPI, WP, etc. depending on the perspective. Government takes CPI as official. So CPI is 1.7%. So in this CPI there are multiple products, food, fuel, etc. So taking out volatile products like food prices keep on increasing. Today onions will be 20, 2 days after it will be 30, after another 2 days it will be 10 rupees. So take out volatile products like food and fuel, which is called, this normal inflation is called headline inflation. Including all products is called headline. Okay. If you take out all the volatile products like food, fuel, you will arrive at something called core inflation. Okay. Core inflation. So core inflation is also remaining low. Okay. Core inflation is also remaining low. It is also a good thing. Okay. Government supply side interventions. So if there is any product in short supply in the market, like let's say if there are too less onions in the market, so government is already maintaining a buffer stock. There is something called Food Corporation of India. Using Food Corporation of India, government maintains some buffer stocks. So whenever there is a shortage, government will come to the market, sell some products intentionally to reduce the price. So government will release more onions into the market so that overall price of the onions will fall down. Okay. So because of government interventions like this, prices are in decent range. Then our fiscal deficit, I told you, fiscal deficit is continuously falling. Our capital expenditure is continuously increasing. I told you, of all the things, investment is needed. When government is doing that investment, we call it capital expenditure or capex. Okay, capital expenditure or capex. Capex, government is continuously increasing after pandemic, continuously increasing. So it is also a good thing. Then after fiscal stability, now let's come to financial system stability. So if you remember a few years back, like 7 or 8 years back, banks are in severe crisis. Banks are giving loans, but we have examples, only examples I'm telling. Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, Mehul Chokshi, etc. Many people are defaulting with the banks, and the loans given by the bank, they are not getting the money back. So when you give a loan, it is your asset, but when they are not paying back, it becomes non-performing. Your asset is not performing. So a loan which has not paid any amount for over 90 months. Okay, every month they will deduct some EMI, some payment, etc. But if something is inactive for more than 90 days, no payment has been received for more than 90 days, it is called non-performing asset, NPA. Previously, banks used to hide all their bank NPS, bad loans. But a few years back, RBI has conducted something called asset quality review. Okay, asset quality review. So assets of all the banks, the quality was reviewed intentionally by RBI. All the NPS were forcefully revealed by all the banks. So the crisis in the banking system suddenly came out. Our gross NPS have almost touched 9%. That means 9% of the loans given by the banks, they are not getting the money back. Now that gross NPS have reduced to almost 2.2%. So which is a very, very good improvement. This is acceptable range. So our banking system is doing fine. There is good credit growth. Okay, enough people are getting good loans when they are required. People need loans for investment because we need investment. So different people need money to invest. Farmer need money to invest in agriculture. Entrepreneur need money to invest in MSME. So credit growth, availability of loans is also good in the country. Okay. So that is why we are also getting much good sovereign ratings by many agencies. Okay, like S&P. So we have strong financial system also. Then moving on to external stability. So we import many items every month. We export many items every month. We get US dollars from exports. We have to pay US dollars or any foreign exchange, foreign reserve currency, etc. When we import, normally speaking, our imports are higher than our exports. So for our current account deficit is not enough. Current account deficit is always negative. Okay, for last year it is 0.8%. Okay, of GDP. So other than current account deficit, as I shown in previous class, we will have something called capital account also. Other than current account, we will also have capital account. Okay, capital account. So under capital account, we can receive foreign investment, FPI, FDI. So when foreign investment comes, we will have dollars, at least temporarily. So all the excess currency we are getting, including all type of capital, current accounts, all transactions, etc. RBI keeps that foreign reserves, and that foreign reserves, roughly we have $700 billion, which is very good. Very is good for a country like India. So even if we stop exporting things, even if we are not receiving any single dollar from today, all the things we need to import will be covered for 11 months. It covers our 11 months of imports. Okay, the $700 we have. So there is no immediate crisis on our external sector also. We have good foreign exchange reserves also. Okay. So rupee is worrying, but economic survey says when you compare with currencies of other countries, see how other countries' currencies are failing. They are failing more drastically than Indian rupee. So if you see in the present world, even though rupee is depreciating compared to other ones, okay, rupee is okay. Okay, and we are the country receiving maximum remittances from all the in the world. Okay, so our remittances are good, our service exports are good. Okay, we have strong external sector. We are getting good money from outside. We are exporting many services to the outside. We are having good reserves. Our external sector is also good. Okay, then we are taking more measures for becoming a good economy, good country. Okay, we are empowering our people. So our labor market is improving, our unemployment is decreasing, Okay, people are participating more in the labor force. Okay, more women are coming into the labor force. Our female labor participation rate is increasing. Our general labor participation rate is increasing. Our poverty is decreasing. So extreme poverty. See, World Bank gives an benchmark for deciding extreme, not normal poor, extremely poor. So previously, World Bank used to say if anyone is earning less than 2.15 US dollars per day. So if you convert into Indian currency, assuming Indian currency $1 is 90 rupees, just for sake, if we count this as roughly, it comes around 200 rupees. So anyone who is earning less than 200 per day is extremely poor as per World Bank. But recently even this benchmark was changed to $3. Okay, $3. So assuming dollar is 90 rupees, so anyone who is earning less than 270 rupees per day is extremely poor in India. So if you compare with our poverty at independence, like more than half of the population are poor, extremely poor. From there we have came so long, we have reduced our extreme poverty so much. Right now it fallen to 5.3%. Okay. Then we have merged all the labor laws. There are 30 plus labor laws in India. So they are very confusing, very difficult to comply. All the labor laws now we have codified into 4 labor codes. We have simplified following labor laws. So in these labor laws we have also included the gig workers. Protection is given to gig workers also. Many provisions like social security were made to gig workers. Who are gig workers? People who work based on platform or app. Ola, Uber, Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto, all of these people who work in these app-based sectors are called gig workers. Okay. Then after empowering people, we are also improving our data. So we need data. We need to get an idea of how our economy functions. So for this purpose, we gather so much data. So we gather price levels and we come up with CPI. Okay, we gather price levels and we come up with CPI. We want to know how industries are performing. We come up with something called IIP, Index of Industrial Production. In fact, we calculate GDP, we calculate all the value we are adding and we calculate GDP. Okay, so we do so many surveys. There is a dedicated ministry, okay, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Under this MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, we have NSO, which conducts many surveys. So we have a separate ministry to organize our data gathering, because data is the new AI. Only when we gather data, we understand the actual reality. Only when we understand actual reality, we can respond with appropriate policies. Okay. So we are improving our policies also. So you see, now we are using new technologies like AI, okay, high frequency indicators, etc. So here a method called nowcasting is mentioned. What is nowcasting? You see, what is nowcasting? Terminologies like this can be very important for prelims. Okay, terminologies like this can be important. What is nowcasting? So let's say I want the data of the last quarter of the December, October 2025, November 2025, December 2025. If I want anything, labor data, employment data, inflation data, price data, any data of this GDP data of this quarter, how things usually operate? 31st December ended, government starts gathering data. Gathering data will take 30 days. Then they will compile it in a 15 days. They will study it, analyze it, and they will receive around February. They will release it around February 15 or 16. So you will see there is a lag of around 45 to 46 days. And if you want to calculate for full year, it will take much more days. So for immediate results, because data is very important for us. If you convey the December data immediately, it will do so much good for the economy. Many people want to invest in January, but they have to wait now till data is released in February. So in this time, we have our economists are developing something called nowcasting. What is nowcasting? So there is something available immediately right now, which is very true representation of country situation, like UPI transactions. So too many very high UPI transactions means people are buying so many products. Okay, how many car sales are happening this month? Okay, so sales, UPI transactions, there is some data with using which you can guess your almost exactly measure your whatever you are looking. Okay, if prices are very high, there will not be many UPI transactions. You don't need to wait for price transaction, okay, price data. So there are some high frequency indicators using which you can exactly guess within a short span of time based on what is happening now. You can even predict future trends also. So this kind of using high frequency immediately available indicators and making predictions is called nowcasting, okay. So we are using digital trends also, okay. We are now using artificial intelligence, personal interviews using computers, okay, computer assisted personal interviews, etc. So technology we are using. One more thing we are doing to make our data more accurate is to change the base years. We are rebasing. Like if you see, there is a proposal to change national account, GDP, etc. to change to 2023. Right now it is 2011-2012. Most indicators are based on 2011-2012. Now we are shifting to recent years. GDP to 2022-2023, IIP to 2022-2023. If you see recent current affair, we are even moving CPI, okay, Consumer Price Index to 2024, okay. From 2012 we are moving it to 2024. So we are doing this to strengthen our statistical system, okay. So this is how it is working. What is the new growth trajectory? So what we are doing differently this time? See, if I am using 10 workers, I am producing 10 cars, my output is, okay, see, I have some investment, I am using 10 laborers, I am producing 10 cars, which is worth 1 crore. This is my usual process. If I want to increase my output, normal process is either I have to invest much, build a larger factory, or I have to employ more people, I have to increase my number of employees, or both I have to do to increase the output. What Indian government is doing right now, using some new technology like artificial intelligence, big data, etc. Government is improving the efficiency, the productivity, okay. This technique is called improving the total factor productivity. These are factors of production. When you increase the efficiency of factors, what you will get is increase in total factor productivity, okay, using digital public infrastructure, etc. Okay, like imagine how payments are made before UPI. We have to like go to banks, or if you don't have cash, you have to go to bank, you have to withdraw money, you have to deposit money in another one. Now you can just do in seconds in your phone. Okay, this is how digital public infrastructure technology can increase our efficiency. Okay, our total factor productivity is increasing. Now, first chapter has come to the end. Now, what have we discussed? What is the summary? So, this is the summary of the chapter 1. World is facing managed disorder and fragmentation. But still, in this kind of world, India is the fastest growing major economy. Okay, our growth is mostly driven by our internal consumption. Okay, but all of our other parameters are also good, like inflation. Our banking system is good, our financial system is good. We have good foreign exchange reserves. India is doing so much of structural reforms. Okay, going on, we will see in many more chapters also what are the structural reforms. So we are going on a good path, we are having a good growth rate. So this is the state of the economy of India, the summary of the chapter 1. So in next class, we will see the fiscal developments, okay, chapter 2. Thank you.